Welcome to episode one of the Midnight Podcast. So, I've been thinking about this for a little while. That's a lie. It just came to me recently and like literally a day ago. And I was like, well, I'm constantly up around the clock, and there's a bunch of people that are likely also up around the clock. What if I did a show for you guys every night where I just kind of covered, not every night, but we'll see how often it comes out, but I did a show for people who are up at midnight, and I kind of just did kind of a review of like the different topics that are happening around us, and it'd be something nice. So this is something that's going to come out during midnight, and if you guys like it, then we'll see if I keep on doing it. So in episode one of today's podcast, we're discussing Joe's not looking so good, high inflation, and more troubles for Boeing. And at the time of recording this, there is still a woman and a man that are trapped on the International Space Station because Boeing's spaceship broke down, it's leaking, and the thrusters aren't working properly. They only have 45 days of fuel. NASA is trying to downplay it, like, oh, they're not stranded, but they're going to have to be up there a lot longer while we figure out how to bring them back. You can't bring them back. No, but they're not stranded. No. So how are they not stranded if you can't bring them back? Because we're working on it. Y'all, this is absolutely insane. But yeah, first let's jump into the situation with Joe. So, as many of you may have heard, there's been a doctor visiting the White House a lot over the last 2 years. He's a Parkinson's specialist. If we look at this article from CNN, Parkinson's specialist met with Biden's physician at the White House earlier this year. Records show a top Parkinson's disease specialist held a meeting with President Joe Biden's physician at the White House earlier this year, according to records. Though the circumstances of the meeting are unclear, Dr. Kevin Kennard, a neurologist at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, met with White House physician Dr. Kevin O'Connor at the White House in mid-January, according to White House visitors' logs. Kennard has visited the White House 3 times this year, according to the visitor logs. A January 17th meeting with O'Connor and with another staffer on January 26th and March 28th. Kennard has visited the White House at least 8 times over the past year. Okay, 8 times over the past year. This is insane. According to the logs, beginning with August and ending with the March 28th meeting. Only the January 17th meeting lists O'Connor as the person who was visited. Very intriguing. O'Connor took the unusual step Monday night of releasing a letter offering some details about Kennard's visit to the White House following days of speculation about the president's health, writing that President Biden has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical. This is very strange. Why would the president's doctor be consulting with a neurologist, but then he takes the unusual step of issuing this letter to say that the president has not seen a neurologist outside of his annual physical? It sounds like they're doing everything possible to ward off the possibility that he may actually have this condition. And what's actually more interesting, I was watching a video earlier where they spoke to a Parkinson's specialist, and this specialist actually just straight up said that that he could spot this a mile away. Like, this is 100% classic signs of a person who does have the condition. And again, this is a serious situation that we're looking at right here. I don't really know. I really don't know. It's obvious that something is not right. His performance in the debate was not good, and I think that it's going to get worse if for some reason they're not able to pull it off and he ends up having to step down, or there's more investigations done. If it's discovered that his staff has been covering up the situation for a year, that he's had this condition for over a year, and they've been deceiving the American public, then there's a lot of people who could end up before Congress for this, because clearly he would not be fit to serve, and there would be questions about who's been actually running things at the White House, who's actually been making the decisions at the White House. It's a very, very serious thing, because legally No one else is supposed to be calling the shots other than him. No one's up, and if he's not capable of doing the job, then the vice president and members of his cabinet are required by law to step in, say that he is unfit to serve, and then the vice president, in this case, which would be Kamala Harris, would be required to step up and take control, taking control directly from him. That's the 25th Amendment. It's there for that reason. Where if a president is no longer fit to serve, they're supposed to step up and do this. So what's going to happen? We're just going to have to sit, wait, and see further. But things are absolutely not looking good when it comes to that. Also, inflation is back. I mean, it hasn't really gone anywhere. We're seeing videos online where they show that inflation has increased by like 400, 500% over the last 4 years. What it would cost $5 to purchase 4 years ago, it's now 20 or 25. So it's absolutely insane. What it would cost $100 to purchase 4 years ago, now it costs 400. And even things like the price of eggs are skyrocketed. Eggflation is back. These foods have faced 2024's biggest price hike. So these are some of the things that we're looking at. Lettuce prices have soared 10.3% from last November through May, according to the Consumer Price Index, in part because of low supply as a result of poor weather for growing in California. Okay. And then let's check out some more other ones. Eggs have increased by 9.5%. Tomatoes are up 3.9%. Other condiments in general are up 3.9%. And beverages, including tea, are up 3.2%. So for food and drink items with biggest price decreases, citrus fruits actually saw a 7.8% decline. Apples are down 6.2%. But big numbers, 0.9%. That was the overall increase for food and beverages in the U.S. cities from November to May. Inflation stood at 1.7% for all items generally. So, I mean, this is really crazy. This is really, really crazy. People are absolutely struggling to survive, and the prices just keep on going up. People don't understand when they say that inflation is going down, they just mean that the cost of prices are going up slower. So if we go from 3% inflation to 2.1% inflation, that means that your prices are going up month over month slower than they were the previous month. It's kind of ridiculous. It doesn't mean that we're experiencing deflation where the prices go down and we can actually survive and breathe a little bit. No, it just means that your prices are going up slightly slower. It's insane. It's absolutely madness. Your prices are going up. You can barely afford anything, and you're told like, well, that's just how it is. But you should be grateful. At least it's not going up even faster. It's not like you're getting paid more at your job. That's allowing you to keep up with this, because there's no way, right? As we can see, companies did not keep up with inflation. If companies had kept up with inflation, people that were making $50,000 4 years ago would be making realistically around $150,000 to $200,000 right now. So there's absolutely that to consider. And in our last bit of news, we have Boeing. Boeing's plane lost wheel after takeoff in Los Angeles. So, guys, you already know what's been going on with Boeing. Boeing is in a lot of trouble. A U.S. airline passenger jet lost the main gear wheel while taking off from Los Angeles on Monday, adding to the growing list of issues facing both the airline and the manufacturer this year. So the Boeing aircraft was carrying 174 passengers and 7 crew when it took off from Los Angeles International Airport at around 7 a.m. on Monday. Shortly after takeoff, a landing gear wheel came off the plane and landing on a car in an LAX employee parking spot. Holy cow. Thank God. So hopefully no one was in there, but it wouldn't be the first time something relating to Boeing has gone awry. I mean, like I said, right now there's a woman and a man trapped in the International Space Station, and no one seems to give a damn. But and we're being told, hey, don't worry about it, bro, even though the ship is like running out of fuel. And on top of that, Boeing has also pleaded guilty. So Boeing why Boeing's guilty plea won't fix 737 MAX crisis of trust. In time for the deadline imposed by the Department of Justice, Boeing agreed to plead guilty to conspiracy to defraud the United States, specifically the lawful function of the Federal Aviation Administration Aircraft Evaluation Group during the original certification of the 737 MAX. This would reverse Boeing's previous plea of not guilty, which the company made during an arraignment in the case in January 2023. So people need to go to jail. They probably won't. The original charges arose after investigation of the Lion Air and Ethiopian Airlines crashes, determining that a software fault of Boeing's maneuvering characteristics augmentation system had caused the crashes. Boeing was accused of misleading the FAA and its customers on the functions of this system. After first charging Boeing with fraud, the DOJ reached a deferred prosecution agreement in 2021, which required the company to pay $241 billion in fines. The DOJ would now require Boeing to pay an additional $243.6 billion. As part of the first deal's requirement, Boeing was to address its safety management system to ensure compliance with regulations and prevent any further fraudulent activities. The Alaska Airline door plug blowout incident in January raised questions on whether the company had met these requirements. While technical faults led to two tragedies, what Boeing faces now is not a technical fault to be re-engineered. Rather, the company is up against a crisis of trust with its airline customers, regulators, government officials, and the flying public. No plea deal can easily resolve this. So, I mean, it's a very serious situation happening with Boeing, and I don't see anyone really trusting Boeing anytime soon ever again. By the way, guys, if you're enjoying the content, consider checking out my newsletter. Got a brand new newsletter for you that I release weekly. It's absolutely free to get. Go and sign up, subscribe to the newsletter for my personal thoughts and insights. There's a link to a description in the video. It is lit. And also, guys, join the Angry Guy community for exclusive content. We're over on Locals now. You can check it out by going to angrygalaxy.com. It's linked in the description of the video. We've got exclusive videos, guides, tips, tricks, polls, all great stuff over there. Again, this is lit too. All right, go check it out and have fun. All right, go be jerks. What do you think regarding all of this, guys? Joe's not looking too good. Inflation is continuing to destroy our lives and our pocketbooks. And there's more trouble for Boeing. They're a bunch of bad apples. Bad apples. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Let me know if you guys want me to continue doing these midnight podcast episodes where I review a bunch of different things that are happening and just kind of talk about what's on my mind in general. Let me know if you're enjoying this, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWAM and walking away. And cheers.